Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration says a North Atlantic right whale found dead near Martha's Vineyard last month had a fishing rope from Maine entangled around and embedded in its tail. NOAA Fisheries says based on their analysis of the gear, including purple markings, the rope is consistent with the rope used in Maine state water trap pot buoy lines. The federal officials have announced that entanglement in Maine fishing gear has contributed to the death of a critically endangered North Atlantic right whale. The Maine Lobstermen's Association released a statement today saying in part, quote, "We are deeply saddened by the death of a juvenile right whale that NMFS has attributed to the Maine fishery. We know that entanglement in Maine gear is extremely rare. This is the first reported entanglement of a right whale in Maine lobster gear in 20 years and the first death attributed to the fishery," unquote. Congressman Jared Golden responded saying, quote, "Maine's lobster industry is the backbone of communities up and down our coast. The death of this whale is unfortunate, but we have to be real about trade-offs. I will continue to stand with Maine lobstermen in the face of any efforts to use this incident to justify new mandates that would threaten their livelihoods and the foundation of community."